$4 million worth of streetscaping works at Toronto are about to be dug up to facilitate the rollout of the national broadband network. The announcement has not been well received by local businesses, and Lake Macquarie Council says it's been left in the dark.
Alfresco dining, rejuvenated garden beds and brand new walkways. A recent multi-million-dollar facelift for the boulevard at Toronto has business booming. But it's about to be disrupted. The national broadband network is planning to rip up the street to install fibre optic cables.
All of a sudden it was finished and now it looks like it's going to start again, so, it's quite disappointing that they couldn't have happened altogether.
Lake Macquarie Council says it tried to contact NBN multiple times in the initial design phase of the upgrade, but the network failed to respond.
Imagining that you're opening up a major area, there's going to be lots of people affected. You only want to do it once, you don't want to have to come back to it, and we had great input from all but NBN.
Now a shock announcement has Council reeling.
We found out earlier this month that they do need to come back now and actually open up the footpaths on both the north and the southern side, which is going to affect the shop holders again, disappointingly.
It's very distressing for the restaurants especially, and all the shop owners that have displays outside in the dust, and it's quite a problem.
Business owners on the north side of the boulevard woke up this morning to markings right outside their front door, the first preparations for tomorrow's rollout works.
On Sunday night, the footpaths are going to be opened up again. It will be a distraction for us for other projects that we can work on, because we'll have to come back and do some work here.
NBN has agreed to cover all costs to return the boulevard to its former glory, with construction hoped to be completed in a few months.
When it's all finished, Toronto will be beautiful.
Madison Scott, NBN News.
She stepped away from the spotlight since winning Australian of the Year, but today Rosie Batty was front and centre at a charity event in Newcastle. The tireless campaigner met with domestic violence survivors and their families to raise thousands of dollars for their ongoing support. A room full of women, and it's said 1 in 3 will experience violence at some point in their life, along with 1 in 4 children. In 2014, former Australian of the Year Rosie Batty became a part of that statistic. Her son Luke, murdered by his father at cricket practice. He was 11 years old.
He was a little boy in a growing body. That felt pain and sadness and fear for his mum. And he always believed he would be safe with his dad.
Today she sits alongside hundreds of survivors and family members, raising money for an important cause.
When you are at events like this, you understand and realise how you are not alone, how your experience, as frightening or as appalling as it may have been, is shared by so many others.
Friends with Dignity accepts donations, pre-loved items to be given a new home, and is working to create sanctuaries across the country.
The survivors walk out usually with only their bag on their shoulder, and they've come out of this with nothing. And so what we do is go in and give them some bedding and somewhere to sleep and feel safe.
To donate, visit friendswithdignity.org.au. Lauren Kemp, NBN News. Still to come, Donald Trump calls for Australia to be investigated over its role in the Russia probe.
Value range every day for nearly 5 years, but some still don't know it. So just a reminder, our everyday $5 value range is on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every day at Domino's.
What does the S stand for in SUV? Alfa Romeo Stelvio. The only SUV you choose with your heart.
From all of us at Greater Bank, we We'd like to thank our customers. You voted us Australia's most recommended customer-owned bank. We love the recommendations, and to keep them coming, here's how we can help your mate save. If you have a friend with a Big Four bank, they could save over $30,000 on their home loan just by switching to Greater Bank. That's a massive saving, and they don't even have to talk to their current lender to switch. Help your mate save over $30K with Australia's most recommended customer-owned bank, Greater Bank.
It's time to wake up to sleep. Right now at 40 Winks, get any size mattress for the price of a single. That's a queen, king, or even a super king mattress for the price of a single. Hurry, offer ends Sunday. 40 Winks, serious about sleep.
Get Nissan Intelligent Mobility. Plus, get 1% finance with 0 deposit on popular Nissan models. The big one, only at Nissan.
What's your pop? You can't stop. Pringles!
I didn't know that I had a shoulder injury, and I talked to my work and they recommended that I see Carolyn O'Day. One of the first things he said, this is a winnable case. It was, oh, thank God.
Nick's Garney Lounge Sale ends Sunday. Up to 50% off selected items and discontinued lines. Up to 50% off lounges. The Nick's Garney Lounge Sale ends Sunday.
The Mitsubishi end of financial year sale is the perfect time to grab your own freedom machine. But hurry, the time of your life starts now.
Jean, if your husband damages your new car beyond repair, your insurance will cover you for a new one, right?
I think so.
Don't just think you're covered, know you are with GIO Platinum Car Insurance Lifetime New Car Replacement Cover.
To breaking news now, and the body of a man has been found in the water off a wharf in Newcastle. The discovery was made this morning behind a hotel on Wharf Road. Police are working to identify the middle-aged man who has a beard, thinning hair and several tattoos on his right hand and right shoulder. There is nothing at this stage to suggest his death is suspicious. A father of 3 is fighting for life after being found with severe injuries in the middle of a Sydney road. At first, police thought he might have been hit by a truck, but they've released the driver without charge.
A garbage truck takes off from Patterson Road, behind a mystery that's even baffled police. Darren Devine found in a life and death situation metres from the front door of his home.
I heard the screams and came outside and saw a gentleman laying on the ground.
His leg had been crushed. The father of 3 lost a large amount of blood. The 41-year-old told his helpers he'd been arguing with a garbage truck driver. As another truck finished the rounds, a 29-year-old driver returned to the Rooty Hill depot and was later arrested and then released. No one who lives here actually saw what happened. Police are trying to work out how a garbage truck came around that corner and mounted the curb where I'm standing, and why Darren Devine was hit in the middle of the road.
By the looks of it, it looks like the truck's driven up our driveway, so whether he's maybe tried to avoid the gentleman on the road.
The driver has had mandatory blood and alcohol tests. Police are still hoping to speak with Darren Devine, who was taken to Westmead Hospital in a critical condition. Nat Wallace, NBN News.
Flights have been turned around and others delayed by more than 16 hours after Bali's notorious Mount Agung erupted. It only lasted 4 minutes and 30 seconds, but 9 Indonesian villages were blanketed in ash. The eruption spread lava across the southern end of the Indonesian island. The Directorate General of Air Transportation said 4 flights to Bali were diverted and 5 flights out of the popular tourist destination were cancelled. 19 students have been killed in India when their tutoring centre went up in flames. Huge clouds of smoke could be seen pouring from the building as panicked teenagers dangled from windows before jumping to safety below. It's unclear what sparked the blaze. Donald Trump has asked his Attorney General to examine Australian intelligence as the President approves the declassification of secret material related to the Russia investigation. It comes as Mr. Trump ramps up efforts to counter Iran, deploying 1,500 more troops to the Middle East and clearing an arms deal worth billions of dollars with Saudi Arabia.
On his way to the land of the rising sun, a new dawn for Donald Trump in the Middle East.
Some very talented people are going to the Middle East right now, and we'll see what happens.
1,500 troops will be sent to the region in what are being described as protective roles, aimed at increasing pressure on Iran.
No, I don't think Iran wants to fight, and I certainly don't think they want to fight with us. But they cannot have nuclear weapons.
The move, the latest fracturing of relations between the US and Iran in the wake of the Trump administration pulling out of an anti-nuclear agreement signed in 2015.
The United States is engaging in economic warfare against Iran. It has to stop. A war is a war. And we believe that the United States is playing a very, very dangerous game.
The White House talking down the prospects of war despite an arms deal with Iran's enemy, Saudi Arabia.
As the president has stated, he's not looking to go to war with Iran. We'd like to see them change their behavior.
Before leaving for Japan, the president approved making public intelligence related to the Russia investigation. Intelligence that came from Australia.
So what I've done is I've declassified everything. He can look. And I hope he looks at the UK, and I hope he looks at Australia.
The move will likely highlight the role of former Australian High Commissioner Alexander Downer in instigating the Russia investigation. The fear tonight, it could also expose the tactics and methods of Australia's spies. In the United States, Charles Croucher, NBN News.
They watched the best light show in the world from the best seat in the house, one group enjoying an eye-popping view of Bivid's opening night from the top of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. It was worth the climb. Straight across the water was the Opera House. The buildings around the city centre were a giant canvas for the Electronic Art Festival. Organisers were hard-pressed to estimate the first night crowd, but thought it was safe to say there were tens of thousands of happy spectators. Dozens of cars crossed the finish line at the Newcastle foreshore today as part of the 28th annual Variety Bash. Teams travelled more than 2,000 kilometres in 7 days, raising money for disadvantaged kids across the state.
Meeting the children and see the kids and the faces on the kids, not only with us but all the other bashers, you know, dressed up as the Flintstones and Frozen and all that, and everybody getting into theme, and that's what it's all about.
The event aims to raise more than $1 million, with some of the proceeds going to Hunter schools.